Hi everyone, for today's Titanic themed book review we're going to be checking out The Titanic Story of Evelyn, written by Lisa Wilkinson. Australians will be familiar with Lisa. For international readers of this book, what you need to know is that Lisa is a well-renowned journalist, TV reporter and presenter. She is married to a renowned author, and she herself, as exemplified in this book and in her previous autobiography, is a formidable writer in her own right. This book tells the story of Evelyn Marsden, the only Australian survivor from the sinking of the Titanic. There were 6 known Australians on board, with Evelyn being the survivor. What Lisa Wilkinson has done is dived right in and reconstructed the life of Evelyn. Her writing style is clear, succinct, and deeply personal. So as the story of Evelyn's life unfolds, you feel as though you are right there with her. And this book is going to appeal to those who, amongst all the many subsets of Titanic fandom, appreciate the personal stories, those who were on board the ship. And Evelyn was a stewardess on board, so for those who are also interested in the lives of the crew, then this will also appeal to you. What is fascinating is that Evelyn was cabin mates with one Violet Jessup on the Olympic, and they also found themselves together on the Titanic in very different circumstances. Even though Lisa wants to focus on Evelyn's perspective and the way she viewed the world, what Lisa does is also bring in stories of both well-known passengers and crew members, but what I found most appealing is highlighting the stories and the experiences of those less well-known. And to Lisa's credit, what she has done in not just giving us a voice for Evelyn, but also highlighted that on board the Titanic was a far more varied multicultural mix. You had one Haitian on board, one Japanese on board, there were 8 Chinese people on board, there was a group of 20 Lebanese on board. And your understanding of what life is like on board this ship then is broadened, because it isn't as staid and uniform as other tellings of the ship have been. The benefit of this book is that it weaves between the stories of other passengers and crew as well as the story of Evelyn, and it also covers her entire life as well as her marriage to a doctor who would serve on P&O ships. And it is impeccably written. What the researchers and Lisa did decide to do was to assist in the writing and to give immediacy to how the characters are presented. A lot of their research focused on books that came out immediately after the Titanic sank, so kind of that first round of books and reports. And while that does give us a sense of immediacy, unfortunately there are some factual bits and pieces that have since been disproven. For example, it is repeated in this book that the ship was split by a 300-foot gash, and we now know that it was a series of pinpricks along the hull that caused the water to enter the ship. So there's a few odds and ends there that may ruffle the technical feathers of those who prefer the nuts and bolts histories. But as I said, this is a book for those who enjoy reading the stories of the people who were on board. And depending on how well you know some of the passengers and crew on board the Titanic, you may be pleasantly surprised by the adventures and the tales of the people involved and included in this book. And I could not highly recommend you more to check it out, because it highlights these different experiences and these voices of other people that have been blocked out. We've heard of the wealthy first class passengers, we've heard of Violet Jessup. We now get to hear the stories of other people, and it enriches the story of Titanic. For those who want a more practical guide on what life for the crew on the Titanic was like, then check out Gunther Babler's Guide to the Crew of the Titanic, and I have a review of this, so check that one out for more information. But for this one, it is a 4 out of 5 captain's hats. There's a small color section and photos in the middle of the book. Most of the Titanic photos are stock standard. You won't find anything new. What you will find, though, are new photos of the story of Evelyn and her personal connection to certain places where she grew up. It is an engaging book. It is intimately written, and as the story unfolds, you are there with Evelyn as the Titanic is sinking. So a masterpiece of writing, and credit to Lisa and her team of researchers for uncovering not just the story of Evelyn, but also for giving a voice to other Titanic passengers and crew whose voices have tended to be not heard as much as others over the last century or so. So, do check it out. Lisa Wilkinson's Titanic Story of Evelyn.